James McClean, a name that divides opinion like few others in the world of football. For some, he's a hero, a man of unshakable principles and unrelenting passion. For others, he's a provocateur, a troublemaker, someone who seems to go out of his way to stoke controversy. But why? Why does one footballer generate such intense emotions? This video aims to explore the roots of the widespread animosity directed at James McClean, especially in Britain, and to offer a nuanced perspective on the controversies surrounding him. We'll delve into his background, his infamous refusal to wear the remembrance poppy, the backlash he faced, his own mistakes, and the role of the media in shaping his public image. James McClean was born on April 22nd, 1989 in the Cregan area of Derry, Northern Ireland. Cregan isn't just another working class neighbourhood, it's a place steeped in history, especially the history of conflict. This area is one of the focal points during the Troubles, the ethno-nationalist conflict that ravaged Northern Ireland from the late 60s to 1998. Most notably, Cregan is adjacent to the Bogside, the site of Bloody Sunday in 1972. On that day, British soldiers opened fire on unarmed civil rights protesters, killing 14 civilians. That event is not just a tragic footnote in Northern Irish history, it is a living memory for many in Derry, passed down through generations. Growing up in such an environment shapes a person. For McClean, that historical and emotional inheritance informed his worldview. It's critical to understand this context before rushing to judge his actions or statements. His identity is not abstract, it's rooted in a community with a complex and painful history. Every November, footballers in the UK don red poppies on their jerseys to mark Remembrance Day, a tribute to British soldiers who died in war. For most people in Britain, it's a non-controversial symbol of respect, but the poppy doesn't mean the same thing to everyone. For many in Northern Ireland, especially the nationalist and republican communities, the poppy also symbolises the British military's actions in Ireland, including those on Bloody Sunday. It commemorates not just World War I and World War II, but also British military involvement in conflicts many Irish people see as imperialist or oppressive. McClean's position from the very beginning of his Premier League career with Sunderland in 2011, McClean refused to wear the poppy. He explained his reasons clearly and consistently, saying that while he respects those who died in the World Wars, he cannot wear a symbol that also honours British soldiers' involvement in the Troubles. In an open letter to Wigan chairman Dave Whelan, he wrote, "If the poppy was simply about World War I and II, I would wear it without hesitation, but it doesn't. It represents all the conflicts that Britain had been involved in." Now this obviously is a deeply personal stance. He is not spitting on graves or disowning the dead. He is drawing a line based on his own historical and cultural understanding. Yet that nuance is often lost in translation. Every November the media spotlight returns. Every year, McClean faces chants, jeers and social media abuse. He's been called a traitor, an IRA supporter, a terrorist. Some fans have booed him for the entirety of the match. He's received death threats, his family has been targeted. For instance, in 2023, Blackpool were fined £35,000 for sectarian abuse their fans directed at McClean. Despite consistent abuse, few players or clubs have publicly defended him. He has stated multiple times that he feels numb to it now. Just think about that. A professional athlete feeling emotionally numb from years of national abuse simply for not wearing a flower. Look, James McClean, like all of us, he's not a perfect man. He's human, and like all humans, we all make mistakes. In 2020, during the COVID-19 lockdown, he posted a photo on Instagram wearing a balaclava while teaching his children a history lesson. The balaclava is an unmistakable symbol, often associated with the IRA. McClean later apologised, saying it was a joke gone wrong. He was fined by Stoke City. Now on top of that, he's also had fiery moments on the pitch and online. In 2023, after a heated match with Shrewsbury Town, McClean called their fans inbred in a social media post. This kind of language doesn't help his cause and provides ammunition for critics. While passion is part of his identity, sometimes it spills over in ways that are genuinely regrettable. That said, we must balance these moments with his positive actions. McClean is not some rage-fueled ideologue. He's quite complex, to be honest. Despite the controversies, McClean has also shown commendable strength and compassion. For instance, his autism advocacy. In 2023, McClean was diagnosed with autism as an adult, the same condition that his daughter has. He has since become a quiet advocate for autism awareness, helping to reduce the stigma around neurodiversity in sport. And not to mention his charity work, McClean regularly contributes to local charities in Derry. He's helped with homelessness initiatives, donated to local clubs, and supported mental health causes. Most of this isn't publicised. He just doesn't do it for the attention. And then also think of his loyalty and leadership. At clubs like Wigan and Wrexham, fans admire him for his work rate, honesty and leadership. He gives 110% on the pitch. Teammates and coaches often describe him as a model professional. He's also been incredibly consistent. He hasn't flip-flopped for the sake of convenience in an era where players are managed to within an inch of their personality. McClean is unfiltered and I suppose real, and you kinda have to respect him for that. British tabloids and social media have amplified the image of McClean as a pariah. Every November, headlines emerge: McClean refuses Poppy again. The repetition makes it feel like a fresh betrayal each year, rather than consistent personal policy. But why is it that McClean's refusal is framed as an insult, while no one questions the values behind forced conformity? Why is his act of silence louder than a stadium full of people? Even when he tries to explain himself, his words are often ignored or misinterpreted. This lack of journalistic balance feeds public outrage and makes dialogue nearly impossible. Now look, I'm obviously Irish if you couldn't tell by the accent. I sort of understand James McClean. I don't agree with every word he says or every action he takes, but I understand him. He is a product of a place that still carries the weight of unresolved history. For most people in England, the Troubles are a closed chapter. But for the people of Cregan and of Derry and most of Northern Ireland, both unionist and loyalist, it's still part of the present. That's not McClean's fault. He has never claimed to be a saint. He's not asking you to agree with him. All he asks is to be allowed to remember his past his way, to represent his country without dishonouring his community. That shouldn't be controversial, I think. And frankly, the silence of football institutions on the abuse he faces is shameful, to be honest. Imagine if a player of a different background faced yearly racial or religious abuse with this level of inaction. There would be outrage. But because it's James McClean, and because of his Irishness in question, it gets brushed under the rug. To me, James McClean is a mirror. He reflects back the hypocrisy of a system that says, don't mix politics and sport, while draping itself in political symbolism. So I suppose that sort of concludes the video. Why does everybody hate James McClean? Because he makes people uncomfortable. Because he forces Britain to remember a past it wants to forget. Because he refuses to conform. He is not perfect, but neither am I and neither are you. Yet he is principled, and in a football world full of robotic statements and brand safe gestures, McClean is stubbornly, gorgeously real. You don't have to like him, but you should sort of respect him. And as an Irishman, I'm proud that James McClean wears our green jersey, because he doesn't just play for Ireland, he embodies it.